Behind every killer in Forsaken lies a tragic story darker than you could ever imagine. What looks like just another Roblox horror game actually hides disturbing tales of corruption, hatred, lost innocence, and primal fear. Did you know John Doe was once a normal Robloxian with a loving wife before forbidden code destroyed his humanity? Or that 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 isn't just a hacker, but the physical manifestation of every dark thought Shedletsky ever had? What about C00l Kidd, a child whose innocence was weaponized by the specter into a monster who thinks he's just playing tag? Today, I'm uncovering the heartbreaking origins of all 4 killers. Stories so twisted, they'll change how you see Forsaken altogether. Now, let's start with one of the most technically demanding killers in the roster, John Doe. Picture this. A normal Robloxian living a peaceful life with his wife, Jane Doe. They were happy, they were in love, until John discovered something he should have never found. Deep in Roblox's system lay fragments of defunct ancient code, and John, driven by curiosity, began experimenting with it. That's when everything went horrifically wrong. The code didn't just corrupt his data, it fused with his very being. His right arm transformed into a grotesque clawed appendage, bleeding red binary. His spine burst through his back, visible and twisted. But the most heartbreaking change? The code completely erased his ability to recognize Jane. The man who once loved his wife now looks right through her as if she doesn't exist. And here's the truly chilling part. Jane Doe is coming to Forsaken as an upcoming survivor. She still remembers him, still loves him despite what he's become. But John, well, he's been hollowed out, replaced by a nightmare with one burning obsession: destroy all of Roblox. This corruption explains why John costs 1,000 player points, or just 318, on March 18th. That date isn't random. It's when the original urban legend claimed John and Jane Doe would hack Roblox. On that day in Forsaken, John becomes absolutely terrifying. His stamina jumps to 115, his damage increases to 45, and he becomes an unstoppable force of destruction. The corruption literally feeds off the legend itself. But what makes John worth those player points? Let's break down his abilities and how they reflect his tragic story. John Doe has the highest HP in the game at 1,500, and he's also the slowest killer. This creates a fascinating dynamic where you're playing as a strategic mastermind rather than a chase killer. His passive ability, Natural Malevolence, leaves a trail of corruption that poisons survivors for 3 seconds with every step. This isn't just a game mechanic, it's a manifestation of how John's corruption spreads to everything he touches. His unstoppable ability means he can only be stunned for 2.175 seconds maximum, after which he gains a speed boost. His slash deals a devastating 30 damage, the highest M1 in the game. But it's his corrupt energy that truly showcases his horror. 26 spikes emerge from the ground, each dealing 12 damage and completely locking down choke points for 14 seconds. Digital Footprint lets you place shadow traps that slow, corrupt, and reveal survivors for 15 seconds while giving you a speed boost. And 404 Error reveals all living survivors for 4 seconds on a 20-second cooldown, a direct reference to the digital nature of his corruption. Playing John Doe isn't about chasing, it's about playing chess. Your opening routine should be spamming 404 Error during intro, immediately setting digital footprint traps on key generators and choke points, and then using corrupt energy to force survivors into your traps. You're not hunting survivors, you're corrupting their environment until they have nowhere left to run. What if I told you that 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 isn't just some random exploiter account? What if I told you he's the physical manifestation of every ounce of hatred, malice, and negative emotion that exists within Shedletsky himself? That's right, every dark thought, every moment of anger, every trace of malevolence that the beloved Roblox administrator ever felt was ripped out of him and given form. The original 2007 urban legend painted 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 as a 4th dimensional being who hated Roblox. But Forsaken's version is infinitely more terrifying because this is personal. Imagine if all your worst impulses, your darkest moments, and your capacity for cruelty suddenly walked around as an independent entity with one goal: destroying you and everyone you care about. That's what makes 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 so deeply disturbing. He doesn't just want to kill random people. He specifically targets Shedletsky and anyone associated with him. And here's what will give you chills. The Spectre probably didn't even create 1 × 1 × 1 × 1. This being existed already, born from Shedletsky's own psyche. And the Spectre just, well, found him and just set him loose. It's like discovering that your worst nightmares were already real and just waiting for someone to open the door. This is why 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 costs 1,250 player points, the most expensive killer in the game. You're not just buying a character, you're buying the physical embodiment of pure hatred. And that hatred translates directly into his gameplay mechanics. His passive ability, Parasitic, makes all his attacks inflict both poison and glitched effects, calculated after resistance. This isn't just a powerful mechanic, it's a perfect representation of how hatred spreads and corrupts everything it touches, bypassing all defenses. His slash deals 20 damage plus poison 1 and glitched 1 for 5 seconds each, but it's his mass infection ability that truly showcases his nature. After a 1.7 second windup, he unleashes a projectile that goes through walls, deals up to 55 damage at close range, and implies glitched 4 plus poisoned 5. And just like that, hatred lives in reality. Entanglement is his control tool, applying slowness X and forcing survivors to complete 5 pop-up minigames or remain stuck. Unstable Eye gives you intel but blinds you, a perfect metaphor for how hatred gives you a tunnel vision while revealing your targets. But his most disturbing ability is Rejuvenate the Rotten. On a 200-second cooldown, this resurrects all killed survivors as 10 HP zombies. They spawn at their death locations and provide speed stacks when killed. This isn't just a gameplay mechanic, it's a horrifying reminder that hatred can twist even death itself into something ugly. Playing 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 optimally requires understanding that you're not just a killer, you're a force of corruption. Your opening should be Unstable Eye for map awareness, then Mass Infection toward distant targets. The key combo is Entanglement into guaranteed mass infection. Late game is where 1 × 1 × 1 × 1 becomes broken. Zombie Resurrection creates overwhelming pressure where survivors can't focus on objectives because they're constantly fighting undead versions of their teammates. The psychological element is crucial. 1 × 1 × 1 × 1's entire kit is about corruption and inevitability. You poison everyone you touch, you raise the dead, you spread glitched effects that make reality itself unreliable. Survivors start panicking not because of immediate danger, but because they know the corruption is spreading and they can't stop it, just like real hatred. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Dark Lore videos about Forsaken. So this isn't just some random hacker kid. This is a story about family, loss, and how innocence can be twisted into something horrifying. Imagine this. 007 was once Roblox's most notorious exploiter, wreaking havoc across games for the pure joy of chaos. Then one day, everything changed. He found a baby abandoned on his doorstep, left there because of a severe skin condition that made him look different, unwanted by his birth parents. And here's where it gets beautiful and tragic. 007 immediately retired from hacking. This hardened digital terrorist took one look at that sick baby and decided his destructive life was over. He became a father, working multiple jobs to provide for Cool Kid, teaching him right from wrong, trying to give him the love and stability he'd never had. But there's a cruel irony here. Cool Kid learned hacking from watching his dad's old exploits. The kid got his hands on a weakened Cool GUI and started causing chaos at Builder Brothers Pizza, not out of malice, but because he thought it was fun. He was just a child playing with dangerous tools, not understanding the consequences. Then came the worst part. One day, Cool Kid simply vanished, just gone. The man who gave up everything for his adopted son was left with nothing but grief and an empty house. And here's the absolute horror. The Spectre found Cool Kid and didn't just kill him, it broke his mind, convincing him that everything happening in Forsaken is just a game of tag. This sweet kid who loved his dad, who just wanted to have fun, now hunts survivors while giggling because he thinks they're all playing together. The most heartbreaking detail? When 007 and 7 and Cool Kid face each other in the game, Cool Kid gently lays his father's body down instead of throwing it like other victims, because somewhere in his corrupted mind, he still loves his dad. This tragic story is why Cool Kid costs 900 player points, the best value for your points in the entire game. His abilities directly reflect his childlike nature twisted into something monstrous. Cool Kid is the fastest killer in Forsaken at 28 studs per second, but also the squishiest with only 800 HP. His punch M1 deals 27.5 damage with a very thin hitbox, reflecting how he's still just a child, not naturally violent, but dangerous when provoked. Corrupt Nature is his ranged option, dealing 20 damage and applying slowness 1 while revealing the survivor. Walk Speed Override is his signature dash attack, dealing 30 damage plus burning 1, but stunning you if you miss, just like a child who charges forward without thinking of consequences. Pizza Delivery spawns 2 pizza bots that seek the nearest survivor, apply burning 1, and reveal them. This isn't just a random ability, it's a direct reference to the mischief at Builder Brothers Pizza, the innocent fun that eventually led to his corruption. Playing Cool Kid is all about rushdown pressure. Your speed advantage means you can quickly eliminate isolated survivors before they can coordinate. The optimal combo is Corrupt Nature to slow and reveal, then Walk Speed Override for the finishing blow. Unlike other killers who rely on fear and dread, Cool Kid creates panic through sheer aggression. Unlike the other killers who have clear corruption stories, Jason's presence in the Spectre's realm is what the devs call Forsaken circumstances, deliberately vague and ominous. What we do know is absolutely terrifying. This version of Jason comes specifically from the Roblox game Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51. Here's a chilling detail. Jason acquired his chainsaw upon entering Forsaken. That means the Spectre itself gave him additional tools for murder. Why would an entity of pure malevolence feel the need to make Jason even more dangerous? What did it see in him that required an extra weapon? His passive ability Mute gives him a smaller terror radius. The Friday the 13th connection adds the Slayer of Inevitable Doom. Jason's the kind of killer who just keeps coming back. You can't reason with him. You can't stop him permanently. You can only hope to survive long enough for time to run out. The Spectre didn't need to corrupt Jason or twist his mind like the others. It just pointed him at the survivors and let 200 plus years of slasher experience do the rest. And due to copyright issues, they're eventually changing his name to the Slasher. The best part? Jason is completely free. Every player gets him when they start Forsaken, but don't let the price fool you. He has 1,250 HP, which is the second highest in the game, and ties for fastest killer at 28 sprint speed. His slash deals 20 base damage, or 25 when enraged, plus bleeding 1 for 5 seconds. Behead is your disable tool, dealing 20 to 35 damage and applying helpless 1 for 14 seconds, which disables all survivor abilities. Gashing Wound is his ultimate damage dealer, a 5-hit combo dealing 50 to 70 damage. Raging Pace is the enhancement mode that makes everything better. For 14 seconds, your walk speed increases, you reveal the nearest survivor, gain stun immunity with counter stun capability, and all other abilities get enhanced damage. Jason's optimal playstyle revolves around ambush tactics and stamina management. Use your small terror radius to surprise survivors, then chain Behead into Gashing Wound for massive damage. In Enraged mode, this combo can kill most survivors instantly. Before we wrap up, I should mention Jeff the Killer. He's confirmed to be coming to Forsaken soon. Based on the classic creepypasta, Jeff is expected to be a stealth-focused killer with his confirmed ability Sweet Dreams and a crouch mechanic for undetectable status. The community expects him to cost between 700 to 1,000 player points and fill the stealth niche that's currently underrepresented in Forsaken's killer roster. Now let's talk about which killer you should actually invest in based on their stories and abilities. For competitive players, 1x1x1x1 is mandatory. Yes, it's 1,250 player points. The versatility, scaling, and psychological pressure make him worth every point. For strategy lovers, John Doe offers the highest skill ceiling and most rewarding gameplay once mastered. If you enjoy chess-like positioning and area control, this is your main. For casual players, C00l Kidd gives you immediate results with simple mechanics and the best cost-to-performance ratio. Plus, his lore will make you emotionally invested in the character. For new players, Jason teaches you fundamental killer mechanics without overwhelming complexity. Master him first, then branch out to more technical killers. Here's the real secret that most players never realize. Understanding each killer's lore makes you better at playing them. But here's the thing, the lore we've covered today is just scratching the surface of the Spectre's twisted realm. There's so much to uncover about these killers, the survivors who faced them, and the entity that trapped them all in this eternal hell. Until next time, stay safe out there in the eternal hell, and remember, in Forsaken, everyone's story is a tragedy. The only question is whether you're writing it or living it.